We learn so much about the love of God and how much God cares for disreputable and rejected and downtrodden people that nobody wants to spend time with. I went back to Russia in 2016 to work in a church we helped to plant in Moscow in 1992. Of course, I did everything I did through an interpreter, and we met in the afternoon. There were some circumstances that made me think that I needed to spend some time in this English-speaking church, this international church, who met in the morning, because I could do both. I was trying to figure out how I was supposed to know that. And I was asked to preach there, and after I preached, 6 people came up to us and asked if they could spend time with us. That was unprecedented in my lifetime. It often happened with 1, sometimes it happened with 2 or 3. Never in my life did it happen with 6 people. 5 to me and 1 to Jane. I thought that was a sign. There weren't that many people there, and they were all Russians. And there weren't that many Russians there. It was an English-speaking church. And I thought, it has to be a sign from God. And I did affiliate with that church. I did a lot of preaching in that church. I didn't know who those people were. And of course, I wanted to track them down because they wanted to spend time with us. So it took me a few months to track them down. And guess what? 4 of the 6 were crazy. 2 of the 4 had been institutionalized. And I was talking with a Russian friend of mine, very sharp. He was my Russian son. I would have adopted him if I could have. He's born in 1981. When we lost a stillborn, 1981, I thought, this is my replacement son, Alexei. And Alexei is extremely sharp, and he speaks English without an accent. And I was saying, I don't even know why Russians come to that church. I thought, why would any Russian come to that church? And Alexei said this to me. He said, because they're misfits, and that's the only place they're welcomed. It's the only place they're affirmed, because they're misfits. And he says, you see, they don't speak English that well. So when you see those quirks, you attribute it to the fact that their English isn't that good. When they're speaking Russian to a Russian, the Russian can see immediately, these people are weird, these people are odd, they're not socially desirable. And so even in a Russian church, these people are going to get the cold shoulder. They come to the English church, and you're just thrilled that a Russian wants to come to your international church because they're mostly Anglos. And so you treat them very special. He said, that's why they come. And I said, well, of course, why didn't I think of that? She was shunned by everybody except for the Son of God. You know this is the Word of God because men who were contriving the narrative would have known that what he did was not attractive to Jews. What he did would not make a Jew in the flesh want to follow Jesus, because what he did was outrageous socially.